Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Monday, October the 30th. Is it Halloween? No, Halloween is tomorrow. I'm going early today because I have a gig tonight. Just want to let everyone know that. And the reason I go early is because if you're going to come and see the show in a few hours' time when it usually airs, you won't be able to watch live, obviously, but you'll be able to watch the show back and just pretend that it is in fact live when it's not. So I hope everyone's well. Let me know how your week has been. Have you had any gigs? Have you had any rehearsals? Have you written any songs? Have you bought any gear? Let me know in the chats, and I'm going to do the same. First of all, I'll say hi to our friends that are here early. Boomer was first here. I may still be hibernating in 2 hours. Then we had Zach Lee. Hello, Aaron and everyone from Venice, California. Very nice. Nick Johnson, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Are you stirring the pot, Nick Johnson? David Belcher, good morning, Aaron and everyone in the chat. Nick Johnson, everyone's excited for the show. Would you recommend this dealer? No, I would not. I don't recommend that dealer. I recommend Sweetwater, and full disclosure, I have affiliate links with Sweetwater, but even if you don't use my affiliate links with Sweetwater, I still recommend them, and they're who I do most of my business with. Actually, not all my business, but mostly. And I have done for the last 12 years, but hope that answers your question. So let me start with the usual thing of going through what I did this week, then I'll come back to the chat. So any questions for me, let me know. I did get an email during the week saying, Aaron, you mentioned that you do gear suggestions and lessons and things like that privately. Yes, I do, but this gentleman did send me an email, and what I can't do is reply to personalized emails, because basically the way I'm going to do this is Mondays at this time, or whenever I do it on the Monday. Mondays is when I do the open session just to chat about anything, take any questions. If you want to send a super chat or buy me a coffee, I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. Shout out to my friend who did buy me 3 coffees the other day for some advice I gave him on the Bose S1 Pro Plus, and I did buy a coffee with the money. But basically, because I'm doing these phone calls now and these private videos with certain people, usually on the weekends, but any time is fine. Because I'm doing those, and they're paying for those, obviously I'm not going to then give free calls and emails during the week. It's not fair on them. It's not fair on me. So they're the 2 ways I'm doing it. Either come on the stream and ask a question, because then I get people in the stream and it helps me with the numbers and everything, or set up on email a private, like 30 minutes or 60 minutes, and I'll give you a private one-on-one gear lesson or gear advice call. Okay, so what did I do this week on YouTube? I don't know if I did. Did I do anything this week on YouTube? Let me see. No, I did not. I did not. But I do have a lot of thoughts to share, and I played a lot of gigs last week. The last video I did was comparing the John Mayer guitar with the other 2 guitars. Most people preferred the custom shop guitar and also the OM42. So yes, I do have an OM42 now. And yes, I have decided which guitars I'm going to be keeping and selling for definite. I've actually made a list of the 8 guitars that I'm going to be keeping, and the rest are all going to go. So I might share that with you later on if you want to. But let me know any questions in the chat. A few things I want to mention right now. I did feel the need to get a replacement Fender Tone Master amp. That video did really well, 10,000 views. And I love everything about that Tone Master amp, but the hiss. And I do have the replacement, and I do have thoughts on the replacement, which I'm going to share. If there's no questions, I'm going to share that in today's video as well, rather than make a video about it. I don't think it needs another video on that. So I also, last week, another reason I was busy last week, I went to the AES show. So I'm also going to give a summary of that, because I looked at last year's video where I went to AES and made a video. And although it was a lot of fun and I'm glad I did it, it only got 200 views. So that's not really a reason not to make a video, because videos can be hit and miss, whatever they are. And sometimes it depends on when you make them. So I may have made a video of AES. It may have done really well, but I decided not to. I went later in the day. I just went to some booths. it was much quieter this year than it was even last year. Every year it's getting a lot quieter, which is a bit concerning. The people I did ask about that said they're happy to be there, but they're not necessarily the ones that are footing the bill to go. And by the way, this is the Audio Engineering Society trade show in Manhattan at the Javits Center. So I did see a few cool products that I would like to talk about in today's stream. So I'm going to do that as well. So the agenda for today is give a summary of AES, because I went last week and didn't make a video, and also update you on the Fender Tone Master Pro and my thoughts on that. They're the two things that I'm going to talk about. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat. And if you're watching this video later on in the day and you have a question, feel free to put a comment. And because I went on early, I'll answer your comment in the chat briefly later on when I get home from my gig. Cheers. Oh, that's good tea. So what should we start with? Let's get the Fender Tone Master Pro out of the way. And also, I think a lot of people will want to watch this video to hear about the Fender Tone Master Pro. So let me start with that. So they released the Tone Master Pro modeler. Good unit. Some bugs, some things that need adding, but it's just come out, and all these devices, whether you like it or not, need updates, need things added to them. So that's that. It's a good unit. They also introduced the cabinet. All right. And the cabinet was what interests me more. Okay, so I was really interested in the cabinet, and I got it, and no one really did a video on it, so it did really well. Got a lot of views, which is great. So the thing about the cabinet is there is some hiss, and a lot of people have said this. Some people have said it doesn't hiss. Some people are saying it does hiss. Someone on the Fractal forum has actually taken one apart and supposedly knows why the hiss is there. Apparently it's caused from the EQ stack, and they also know how to fix it supposedly as well. Well, that's great, but it doesn't really help someone like me that can't even iron a shirt, right? So the thing is, I got the replacement, and long story short, it's the same. So the hiss is still there. It's disappointing, but I do have some more thoughts on it. I have plugged in the Quad Cortex this time to it. It does sound very good. I do see why some people say there is no hiss. And the thing is, when you're playing, and actually, Nick, your question is perfectly timed there about single coils. I just plugged in a single coil guitar, and single coils in this apartment are noisy anyway. I mean, they are in lots of places, right? But I'm actually selling a John Mayer signature as well. So if you're interested, are you in America? Let me know. I'm selling a ton of guitars, but again, I'm not here to sell guitars. I don't want to turn this platform into a guitar selling business, but I am selling a lot of guitars. And if you're interested, you should email me at my aaronshortmusic@gmail.com, because we can sort something out if you're in America. But let me stay on track. I mustn't look at the. In fact, I'm going to close the comments down while I talk. Okay, because I want to stay on track here. I want to stay on the Tone Master. So most people plugging in a fairly noisy guitar, turning it up loud, will not hear the hiss. That's what I believe. So if you're doing gigs, if you're doing a band rehearsal, you're not going to be bothered by it. If you're in an apartment, if you're in a recording studio, there is hiss, and people are saying that there's no more hiss than an amplifier. Well, that's not true. The thing is, all speakers have hiss. I turned the Bose S1 Pro on just now. That, when you put that to your ear, there's hiss there, right? Yes. But with the Fender, I hear the hiss sitting across the room. And for me, that's too much. And then that hiss combined with the single coil noise and the noise you get from the amp model in your modeler is just, I mean, while I'm playing, it's probably not an issue, actually. But it shouldn't be there. And, I think the thing for me is I have a power amp for the Quad Cortex, and it sounds awesome, and it's completely silent, and it plugs into a cabinet that I bought two 1x12 real cabinets from Sweetwater to gig with and use at home. I bought a cover for one of them. I have the rig now. So for me, just to be fully transparent, the Fender FR12 would have to sound incredible for me to want to switch. I already have invested in a platform, right? So for the FR12 to make me want to sell one of those cabs, I'd always keep one cab for my real amp, but to sell the cab and the cover and switch to the FR12, I would do it because I'd end up making some money on that, or I'm not making money, but I'd end up with more money in my pocket. So if the FR12 was amazing and sounded better and was completely silent like the power amp that I already own, to be absolutely honest, I would keep it 100%. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Do I recommend the product? I don't not recommend the product. The price is amazing. The features, I still say, are amazing. The Fender FR10, the Fender FR12. If you're playing gigs, if you're using it in a rehearsal room, I recommend it. Recommend it over other. Hey, it's Halloween. It's fine. I recommend it over many other products. I really do, especially like the Line 6 power cab and things like that. I much prefer this. And I guess they have noise too, but this one particularly has that noise, and it's not as bad as I remember 2 weeks ago when I shipped back the other one, but it's still there. It's still bugging me. So I'm being completely honest here. Some people that are saying it doesn't hiss, I believe they're in noisy environments. I believe they're not listening very carefully, and I don't believe it's any different to mine. I just believe that they don't care. So here's the answer. If you're someone that really cares about the little things, if you get a new piece of gear and stick it under a magnifying glass, you're probably not going to like these. But if you're the kind of person that gets a piece of gear, throws it in their truck, goes up to the band room, blasts out heavy metal, fine. Probably the best option on the market, honestly. But for me, as it's still there, as I already have an option that I really like and enjoy, I'm gonna return it. So that's the Fender FR12 update. Complete pain in the ass, but I wanted to do it because I made a video saying that this thing had I'm not going to call it a problem. You know, many speakers and PAs have a hiss in them. That's not a problem, but it's a problem for some people that have high standards. But the way they've priced this thing around $500, I mean, I think that kind of says it there. Like, if this thing was $1,000, $1,500, I mean, the Line 6 212 power cab is $1,500. And I didn't particularly care for it. But there we go. If there was a more pro version that was $1,500, I would get that. If it was completely silent and sounded even better and was even lighter, I would switch to that, because that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. But for many people that don't care and want to spend $500 or even get it on sale and get it less than $500, there we go. That's going to be for them. So good product, not professional enough. I don't. That's the wrong word, isn't it? I won't put the problem on them. I'll say I'm too much of a snob to want to use it at my gigs, or in this room. So there we go. All right, so that's the Fender FR12. Now I'm going to load the chat back up, and see if we've got any questions. Vito Winner's here. Good to see you. Nick Johnson's in the USA. Very interested. Yeah, I'm selling the Maya Strat. Zach Lee, single coil, no noise, US user stacked single coil. So here's the thing. Let's now go to the next question, and then I'll go on to AES for the next one. What's your take on single coils like? So this is a really great question. This is a part of my choice, and in fact, what I'd say now might make you not want to get a John Mayer Strat anymore. So you like the Mayer Strat. The Mayer Strat sounds great, and it has very cool pickups in it, right? And they're getting harder and harder to find. So I'm not surprised you regret selling yours. Okay. I like single coils. I even like single coils distorted. I can play heavy rock songs with single coils. Yes, they're noisier, but I'm now going to be a hypocrite. It kind of brings me back to what I was just saying. When you're actually in a band and playing at a wedding, you don't care about that noise, right? And you can use a noise gate. I don't really like noise gates. Sometimes you need a noise gate for the chuggy stuff because you want it to kill the sound in between the chugs. But if you're playing Journey or something, Don't Stop Believin', that bit of noise there isn't a problem. No one's going to hear it unless you're using in-ears or you're super sensitive. Most rock bands, it doesn't matter. And I like how how they cut through the mix. So it's a nice idea to have like maybe a Strat with a humbucker you can split. Some people say they're no good, but I really like it when you can split the humbucker. I think it can sound very convincing. I like single coils. I like those jangly, twangy, bright sounds. I do. The only thing is, yes, they can be noisy. And I always think to myself, if I do end up in a band with in-ears, that noise could be a problem. I want to get rid of that noise. And also in my YouTube videos, I don't want the noise. So the two guitars I've decided to keep, which I don't think I've even shown on the channel. Most of the 8 guitars I've decided to keep, I don't think you've seen a lot of them, but there'll be videos about them. So one is my Sir, and that's because it's got the noiseless system built into it. It's like a dummy coil. So it's not real single coils, but it's much quieter. It's not silent. It's not completely quiet. It's not as quiet as, say, the Fishman Fluence pickups, but it gets rid of all that 60 cycle hum. It gets rid of that. The actual noise is still there, but they still sound great. And that's got a humbucker, which you can't split. So that's the sort of guitar I'd use at a gig. Let's say I'm doing a gig with in-ear monitors or a video for YouTube. I want the humbucker for the heavy stuff because that's what people are used to more than the single coil. And I also want the noiseless in there because on the videos, I don't want all that noise coming through. And at a live gig, I don't want that noise coming through. And sometimes at home, I don't want the noise coming through. That fixes all of that. So that's really cool. And then I've actually got a guitar, which is a Fender SSS. Looks just like the Maya. The actual body looks just like the Maya, but it's a hardtail. And the Maya Strat is basically a hardtail because they lock down the tremolo system. And you can release that and use the tremolo system, but Maya doesn't use it, and that's why it's locked down. But my Strat I got from the mod shop is actually a hardtail, so it's there's no tremolo system in it, so it's a bit lighter than most Strats, a little bit, not too much, because there's more wood in it. But the string just goes straight through the body, and I don't really use the whammy bar, but I've got the whammy bar on the Sir, and even that it doesn't hold tune perfectly, but it's a bit better than the Fender system. So basically, that's part of my plan. That the Sir has the stainless steel frets, the noiseless pickups, the humbucker, and the tremolo, which is great for like a rock gig and wedding band. Very versatile guitar. And then for those days where I just want to play a Fender, because I'm still a snob like that, I'll grab the hardtail Strat. And by the way, hardtails were around in the old days. They're not a new thing. So I'll grab the hardtail Strat. It'll stay in tune. It's got locking tuners. It looks like the Maya, but it's a bit lighter. And the pickups are a bit different. I think they're a bit brighter, not quite as scooped, but they're the classic kind of Fender pickups. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with that. The other thing you can do is you can have a dummy coil installed in a guitar. So like the Maya Strat, you could install the Illich dummy coil, which will get rid of all that 60 cycle hum. But you know, a lot of that 60 cycle hum depends on where you live and even where you're sitting in the room. Oh, that tea tastes good. All right. Nick, email me aaronshortmusic@gmail.com. aaronshortmusic@gmail.com, because I'd love to, you know, I mean, I'm using Reverb. I like Reverb. I trust Reverb. They take money. They've also helped me out a bunch of times when there's been issues. Honestly, I'd rather sell through Reverb than sell direct. You know, I'd rather list the Fender Strat, the Maya Strat on Reverb, and you buy Reverb. Honestly, I'd rather take the hit on that. But depending on where someone is and how long I've known them through the channel, if we trust each other, you know, that could be a good way to go, couldn't it? So whatever happens, email me about the Maya Strat, and I'll send you I'll grab the pictures and send them to you when they're ready. I've actually got it right here. But Rafa says, I've noticed most PAs have a noise floor. So everything has a noise floor. I was just sitting here with my rack unit here. It's going to reboot my quad. There's a new update for the Quad Cortex just came out. I was like, here's a. Oh, it's not going to happen now. On this interface here, if I bring up the gain on channel 1, there. Can you hear that? If you've got headphones on, So what I've done is I've just turned it down again. I cranked the gain on one of the inputs basically on the audio interface. And there's that hiss, right? Because the gain is at maximum. So that is your noise floor. There is noise floor there. Yes, you're right. Everything has a noise floor, but some things have a noise floor that is more acceptable than others. And I think that comes down to quality of components and design. Special depending on electrical installation, but some PAs have no noise indeed. I mean, that's the PA. The thing with the PA is it's to do with gain staging as well and cabling. So if you have a mixer with high quality preamps, you set the gain correctly, you run that into the PA speaker, you set the gain. Everything's got that connection between it. Everything then needs to be connected correctly and adjusted accordingly to get the best signal to noise ratio, the lowest signal to noise ratio. So there is that. With a speaker like the Tone Master Pro Cab, I mean, I've got nothing connected. I'm plugging it into power, turning it on, and then once it turns on, there's that noise. That's background. That's more of a mechanical thing, you know. Noise through in-ears. Well, I'm just thinking eventually I'd like to form a band for weddings and use in-ears, and we all do our own mix from our cell phones. That's what I plan to do one day. And I'll talk about that from a piece of gear I saw at the show this week. But for that, I don't want. I want the lowest noise possible because you're going to have the in-ears on, right? You're going to hear everything. And you know, I don't like noise, by the way. I'd rather not have noise at all. But I do like single coil pickups. But I've actually got my telly has Loller kind of humbucker pickups in it, and the front one of those is noisy too. So it's not. Sometimes humbuckers are noisy too. To be fair. There's more noise in the USA with 60 cycle hum than the rest of the world with 50 cycle hum. True, although 50 cycle hum is still annoying, right? Did I try the Fender Ultralux? No, I wanted to, but I don't like how they look. I like the Ultra Strats. The Ultra Strats are cool, but I kind of wish they'd make the blue Ultra Strat with stainless steel frets. I've also heard some negative things about the S1 switching in the Fenders, and the Surs don't have that. The Sur is just a passive circuit, so I think I trust that a bit more too. Cheers, Nick. The doctor's in the house. He wants to play in the wedding band. Sure, but you're going to have to play bass, all right? I don't want to play bass. Okay, let me go on to my talk about AES. So AES, Audio Engineering Society in the Javits Center. I went last year and posted the video. I went before the pandemic, and it was very big. It was a big show. Last year was much smaller, and they combined it with the video version of that as well in the other hall, just to make it more of an event. And then this year they did the same thing, but the AES part was really small this year. Really small. Well, I shouldn't say really small. It was smaller than what it was the year before. So what did I see? Well, I went through, and the first thing I did was I went to Allen and Heath. Allen and Heath are a mixing board company based in England, I believe. And they have a new mixer, digital mixer, that reminds me of the QSC Touch Mix. And I wanted a demo of it, and I was really, really impressed. This thing is basically a better Touch Mix. So the Touch Mix, the screen is kind of older and washed out. This one has a much better screen. This new one from Allen and Heath, you can do multi-touch, so you can press 3 faders up at once with the touch screen. It has built-in Wi-Fi with 2 bands, whereas the QSC just has this dongle in the back that's horrible. Doesn't work very well. The QSC one, you can plug in a hard drive to record, but the new one, you can just stick a little micro SD type card into it, so it's all recessed into the unit and record your whole band separately. So this is a unit that would be amazing for a band that I was just talking about. You go in direct, you have in-ears on, you can each run, I think there's 6 outputs. So each member of the band can have their own in-ear monitor mix, and you can send it to front of house. I was really impressed. The price is great. They're about $1,100. Well, the Touch Mix is $1,500. So what I'm thinking about doing is selling my Touch Mix for around that price and getting this new Allen and Heath. I haven't actually tried it in person, so I'm not going to recommend it yet. But based on what I saw from the demo, it just fixes all the issues I have with the Touch Mix. The only thing is with the Touch Mix, you can adjust the master levels from your iPhone. And with the new Allen Heath, you can only adjust the monitor mixes from the iPhone. You have to use an iPad to adjust front of house. Android you can, because Android just scales up apps between tablets and phones, but iPhone and iPad are still different. That's the only thing I can see that might be a criticism from me, but that's not really a problem. If I was doing a band gig, I would have the iPad with me for sure. And then the great thing is you've got the screen there, so you can just walk over and use the screen on the device anyway. So I was really impressed with that. Then I went over to yeah, Audio Technica. So I went to Audio Technica and I said to them, I use your headset for my live streams and I absolutely love it. Why don't you just sell the microphone by itself? Because I don't want to wear the headphones. Then I could have in-ears and just the microphone here. And that would look awesome. And they said, I don't know. We don't know whether to do that. And remember, a lot of these people you meet at these trade shows are they're not always sometimes it's the owner. Like I met the owner of Megami, but often it's reps that are there to run the stand, right? They usually do work for the company, but they don't always have the direct answer to why don't you make so and so and so and so. So he did say there's a new headset out, and that is in fact this very headset. Yes, I did. I bought it myself. I bought it from Amazon, and the reason I wanted to check this out, I actually ordered it. I ordered this the day that I met them because he told me about this new headset. So what's the difference between this headset and the headset that I normally use? Well, the reason I'm using it today is because I'm going to listen back to my stream tonight with my AirPods in and also use my studio monitors and see if I prefer the sound of this headset to the old one. So far, I do much prefer the sound of the microphone and the headphones, and that's because this is a condenser mic. So this mic needs power. It's a bit more sensitive. That might mean it might pick up a bit more noise, a bit more of like mouth noise and breaths, but it's also a more warmer, fuller sounding mic than the dynamic on the other one. And I like the other one because it doesn't pick up external noise from the other apartments and the airplanes around here. But because it's so close to my mouth, that shouldn't, and so small, it shouldn't really pick that up anyway. But again, I'll compare that later on. That's why I'm using it today, to test it out. The headphones sound a lot, I don't want to say a lot better. Like for listening to music, they're more hi-fi. They're not as mid-rangey. They are more pleasing. But then playing guitar through them, I thought there might be a bit too much high-end. I haven't decided yet. I'm still doing some testing. The microphone, like I said, is going to be a bit more sensitive, but also more warmer, more radio-like, which is what I was looking for. But the really cool thing about these is there's two really cool things and one thing that I don't like as much as the other ones. Because things, as I always talk about, things don't always get better. But these are more for streamers and gamers, and that's why the sound when you're listening is more kind of fuller and more like more like bass and less mids and hi-fi. The other ones are broadcast. I don't know if they're flatter, but they do sound a bit boring in the mid-range. So for actually listening to videos and music, I much prefer these. I don't know which ones are more accurate, though. I need to figure that out. But what's really handy with these is that when you put the microphone up, it turns it off. And that is so useful. Dr. McFarland will know what I'm talking about. So basically, why would you want to do that? I mean, check this out. Ready? So talking. So when you feel it snap into place up there and it kills the mic completely. This is really useful for me because when I'm doing the acoustic guitar stuff or even electric guitar stuff, what I don't want is for the electric the string sound to go into the microphone. It doesn't happen as much as with the bigger microphones you see people using, but it does happen. Okay, like if I clap my hands, you can hear that, right? So if I'm playing electric guitar, you'll hear the strings coming through that mic, and it sounds awful in the recording. So basically, if I'm going to demo electric guitar now, I can just say, right, I'm now going to demo electric guitar. and it kills the sound. And I can just cut that bit out of the video if I want to. It's easier to use a foot pedal to do that, but I just haven't bothered plugging one in or using it. I like the fact that I can just grab this, or if I need to cough or something, sometimes I need to cough. Yes, I have a mute button on the software as well I could use, but it's just so easy it's just so easy to do that. I love it, absolutely love it. So I really, really like that. I really like that a lot. And also, the cable, the end of the cable has a connector which is either large or small. On the old ones, it was just the large connector, and occasionally I wanted to grab that and plug it into something to listen, or like a music device that had the small mini jack, and I couldn't because it's just got the big jack. Well, this one has that adaptable jack. Again, it's really for gaming. This would be amazing as a gaming headset. Amazing for that. And you can use that with either. So that's a really good thing as well. That could come in handy. The only thing, well, actually, I think I do like it now. The cable is shorter, but it means it's not running on the floor. So actually, yeah, it's going to be harder for me to walk over across the room. I'll have to take the headset off, but it's not running on the floor anymore. Now, the old cable did get twisted, and you could actually disconnect the cable and then untwist it or buy a new cable. With this one, it's connected. That's the biggest thing I don't like about this one. You can't remove the cable. I don't think it'll be a problem. I can still untangle it, and maybe because it's shorter, it won't get as tangled as the other one. But that's my only criticism of this versus the other one. So the other one came with a pop filter. This one doesn't have a pop filter with it. This has a shorter cable, which may be good or bad. This one has a attached cable, which I don't think is as pro or as good. This one sounds better. I think the mic sounds fuller and warmer. I don't know how good they'll be for playing the guitar. I don't know how accurate they'll be. I need to compare them to my in-ears. But the thing with headphones is they all sound different anyway, right? So I actually think these modelers, the modeling companies like Kemper and Line 6 and Neural, they should sell headphones. Not only should they sell a speaker for their device to use on stage, they should sell headphones, because they could sell headphones and then they could make all their presets with those headphones. It will still be different when you plug in your guitar. Ideally, someone would sell you their modeler, their guitar, and their headphones, and then everyone's devices will sound the same. And when you buy a preset, it will sound the same. The problem right now is if you use, even these headphones and the ones from last week sound completely different, so different. And then you use a different guitar and you buy someone's preset. That's why I don't buy presets anymore, because someone used speakers and a completely different guitar to make that preset. When I put these headphones on and use my guitar, it's going to sound completely different. It's completely useless. All right, so that I missed the rant button for that one. Sorry. Zach said, I thought you sounded different. So that's where I went. I went to Allen and Heath, and I'm very interested in their mixers. I went to Audio Technica, and I'm very happy with this headset, and I love their headsets. I think they're great. I went to Melodyne. I need to do more work on Melodyne. I think that's a great piece of software. I went to Shaw. I went to everyone, but they're the things that I saw that interest me the most. And by the way, tonight Apple have a late night event, which is weird for them, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I think they're going to release the M3 Max. This is amazing. This M1 Mac is the best piece of gear I bought in the last 5 years. My M1 Mac and my big monitor, it's changed everything. I love it. And the fact they're already on M3. M2 came out around January, but that was supposed to come out the previous September. It got delayed. So now they're releasing M3 supposedly. That's crazy. Thank you for subscribing. The Big Draw. Appreciate it. I'm almost at another milestone, so I'll see. Let me see where that puts me now. 15,992. I'm just 8 away from 16K. It's awesome. So thank you for being part of that big draw, and everyone that's watching. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. I probably did. I've completely forgot what I was saying now, but Yeah, so I'm glad I went to the show, actually. The show was valuable to me because I got to try that mixer hands-on. I got to discover this new headset, which I think is great. Oh, yeah, the Macs, right. The Macs are coming out. If you haven't yet gone from Intel to the Apple Silicon, now is the time to do it. Either get a used M1 or M2 for cheap, if cheaper, or get these new M3s. I can't wait to see what they announce tonight. I mean, they're just getting faster and faster and faster, and it's just making everything better, especially for musicians. I used to, it sounds stupid, but I used to really struggle with the Intel iMac during the lockdown. That fan noise, they're talking about noise in the room. It didn't help that I used a shotgun mic. If I'd used this headset, it actually wouldn't have been a problem at all. But even for when you're recording or the heat it generates, I mean, maybe that's a good thing in the winter. I don't know. But that thing was so loud. And the fan turns on my MacBook Pro 14-inch M1 Max, but only when I'm exporting big video files, when it needs to kick that in and get those files done. When I'm actually live streaming, it's completely silent. So that's the thing now as well. We are more spoiled by stuff like that because as the laptops get quieter, we expect the amps to be quiet as well, and sometimes that's not possible, of course. I would use it as a built-in talkback mic for the studio session. That's right. So say you're mixing, and so you're mixing, you don't want to have any like room sound bleeding through this mic. You just do that. And then you need to talk to the band, you just do that. Okay, can you play the drums again? And then when you put it back, it turns them off. Also, I have occasionally I have a little like a hook over here that I hang my headphones on when I'm not using them. Occasionally, I'll forget that they're connected, and I'll bring up the volume on the speakers, and I'll get horrible feedback, which I don't want to get. I don't want to annoy the neighbors any more than I already do. So good for that too. When I'm done with this stream, when I put them away, I'll put the mic up, and that kills the mic. So whatever I then do, I mean, I'll probably mute the mixer anyway, the input anyway, just as a precaution. But that's another safety net that I won't trigger that feedback by mistake. Michael, what's up, man? Rode has a headphone with mic. Yeah, but I just love this. You can't hear me, can't hear me. I'd love that. That's so cool. Hopefully it won't break, by the way, but that's so useful. Graham says, I'm watching now my M1 Mac Mini. It served me well and still going strong. Yeah, I got no complaints. I've got the M1. Let me see what I've got. I've got the M1 Max, 32 gig of RAM, and 2021. And then since then, we've had the M2 Max. There's also an Ultra, right? M2 Ultra. And also the bigger laptops, like the 16. There's a 14 and the 16. The 16 will go even faster because it's got more surface area to cool it down. That actually will go even faster than the 14, but I like the 14. Even though I don't take it out anywhere, I just like the way it fits on the desk. And I actually love the second screen. I couldn't go back now. I used to be such a fan of the iMac. I loved my iMac so much. And it did take up less desk space and was cleaner looking. But what I do now is I have the laptop over here with like right now Sweetwater's on there. So I can, if I switch to my desktop, where is it? Yeah, so that is all on the other screen. So I can actually go look over there. That's why I'm looking over there, and I can use that from there. All right. And then my main screen is just the other stuff, which is really useful. Really useful. And also, I was live one day in the lockdown, and my mouse lost connection, and I couldn't use the mouse. Well, it doesn't matter now because on the laptop I've got my trackpad and a keyboard. So even if I lose connection to the mouse and keyboard, I can just jump over here and use the built-in mouse and keyboard, trackpad and keyboard on the laptop. So there we go. I'm a big believer in backups for gear in case something goes wrong, especially while you're doing a live stream. So I've got that right there as well. So if the battery dies in the keyboard, I forgot to charge the battery, I can just jump over here and use the keyboard on the laptop. So I love it. But yeah, I've got the M1, and it's more than I need. But I'm still excited to see if Apple will do anything new today and maybe add some new features. Dr. McFarland, I've got the M1 because I couldn't stand the Intel fan noise anymore. Exactly. As soon as I turned my Intel Mac on, the iMac, it was just whirring away. It wasn't doing anything. It was just on the desktop, and the fans were like really loud. It's so stupid. It's like, I understand like these days, if you're playing video games or exporting large files, the fans do come on. They have to, but they don't need to come on while you're on the desktop. That's just stupid. And those Mac Minis are great too, Graham, because you can put the Mac Mini, technically you could put the Mac Mini in your closet and just run a snake out of the closet to your monitor, and then you'd never have any noise if you're recording because it will be in the closet. I don't think that's necessary, but Poo Ninja, I've never owned a Mac, but I did drive an M3 once. It was pretty cool. I've had a lot of Big Macs. I'll get an M10 when it's released in a few more years. Yeah, that's the thing, because they're really going ahead quickly with these. I can't believe they're on the M3 already. It's crazy. Is there also a noise? Is there a noise gate on your mic? Yes, there is. Let me turn it off so you can hear what the difference is. I'm using the API plugin on my interface, and with that, I've got some EQ and a noise gate, and that's it. I'm going to turn it off. So you need to use headphones for this, really. Listen carefully, or put the phone to your ear. But you really want headphones. I'm going to turn off the preamp, and you'll just hear what the headset sounds like directly into the computer. So it's a lot. I would be careful. It's a lot louder. So there we go. It's a little bit harsher. I had some EQ. Maybe I got too much EQ on it, but a bit harsher there, and you can hear the background noise. You can also hear all my mouth noise and breathing. That's the problem. You hear everything. Because if I do any sort of mouth noises, you hear it all, breathing, moving around, touching the desk. It's all coming through. It's so noisy. And with the noise gate on, when I'm not talking, it's completely silent. And if I do tap the desk, you don't hear it. And if I'm making certain, obviously breathing and certain noises come through, but I don't know. It's good to not have that stuff on because it's more than that. But yeah, you see what I mean? You see how noisy that was? And that's through this little mic right in front of my face. So can you imagine if you also had that fan noise from the Intel Mac whirring? It was just unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. So we'll see. I'm going to listen back to last week's stream and this week's stream and see which one I prefer. But I might put the mids up, actually. I think I cut the mids for the other headset. There we go. I cut the mids. Yeah, no, it's kind of harsh, though. I cut the mid-range for the other headset, but I quite like, yeah, the mid-range is fatiguing to me. All right, I put it back. So let me know what you think of this headset, and I'll see if I'm going to keep it or not. But so far, I prefer it. Again, like all gear, it doesn't blow the other one away. One isn't necessarily better than the other. One just has different features to the other one, and you've got to decide which features suit you the best. I have dual screens for my Mac. I started with them when I was teaching guitar a lot on Zoom in the pandemic. Such a game changer. Yeah, I love it now. Even just the small. If I had a massive desk, I would have the 16-inch MacBook Pro, because you get an even bigger screen, second screen, and it goes faster. And I'd have that there. Then I'd have at least a 32-inch monitor in front of me, and then maybe my phone or my iPad to the right of me. What a great setup that would be, you know. Yeah, you're right. It basically gets rid of all the noise, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't make videos with that noise anymore. I can't. I find it hard to listen to people now. When I listen to videos and it sounds like they're in the room. And I even had some calls recently with company, famous big companies, and it sounds like they're on speakerphone in their living room. It's awful. I want to hear that close up direct, warm. So I want to hear that broadcast kind of sound. Now, some people will compress the crap out of their mic, and it literally sounds like they're on late night radio. I don't like that. I want it to sound natural, but I don't need to hear all that other noise going on. You know? Michael says maybe video on your settings for other live streamers. Yeah, but Michael, I don't want to give my secrets away. This is where I'm at these days. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want someone. I don't want to. I don't want to tell everyone else how to do this. No, I'm just kidding. I think I have done that in a video, and all I'm doing for anyone that's interested is setting the gain correctly for the headset. Again, you're going to need something like the Apollo. You're going to need those good plugins to do this. And it's literally just cut some. I've boosted the treble and bass. I've cut the mids just to get a more of a warmer sound. And the noise gate is just on. I just play with the noise gate until it doesn't remove the speech. The problem in some noise gates is they cut in. They come on too soon and they kill the word. They cut the start of the word off. So I literally just played with the settings until it didn't cut off any words, because I don't want to hear like any like noise. And the other problem with having a loud background noise and using the noise gate to fix that, like let's say you have the Intel Mac with the fans running, when you stop talking and the gate turns on and opens, you'll hear that hiss coming through, because when I stop talking, the gate turns on. And then as I talk, every time I talk and that's opening the gate, any background hiss that's loud, like the old iMac, you'll hear that every time. It's so annoying. So you do need to keep the noise in the room as quiet as you possibly can, and then use the noise gate. And even if your room is completely silent, you still want the noise gate, because it will get rid of a lot of the mouth noises and the coughing, even like moving your mouse and all that, all those little rustling sounds. It will get rid of those, which is cool. Okay, good. I just watched an old Monday show and the mic was bigger and your voice seems deep. Yeah, I also think this is a nicer looking mic as well. It's not. It's less. I think the whole headset is more comfortable and looks nicer. Cheers, John. Rosanna's here. Good evening, everyone in chat. Happy Monday. Just finished work. Awesome. I'm going to put this. I'm going to put these headphones in the chat. I'm going to put my link there, because I am very happy with them. And I think there's two versions, but the one that I think because they're for streamers, I think there's actually a USB version, but I wanted the one with the mic and the headphone separate. Actually, I'm looking at them and it shows that you can remove this cable. Huh? Oh no, the ones I'm looking at don't have the mic. Hang on. Let me find the exact ones. So I wish they made this cable. I don't know why they do that. Why wouldn't they make the cable removable? That way, if the cable gets really messed up, as they tend to do, even though I'm careful with it, they get all twisted up and they go horrible, or the cat might chew it. You could just get rid of it. So the one I was using was the BPHS1, $219. Okay, these ones are $200. These are actually cheaper than those. Okay, currently back ordered. So I won't even bother putting my link in there, because you can't buy them right now. Here we go. That's my non-affiliate link. If you want to buy some, make sure you click my link before you order them. But that's them there, the ATH-M50X STS. So let me show you that on the screen. So there's no pop filter on the mic. You get some alternative pads to use, which I didn't try yet. I'm very happy with the ones that came with it. They are completely over the ear, which is nice. as were the other ones. There's that gold connector, which is mini or maxi. And there's the way that you mute the microphone, which is really cool. Yeah, unfortunately, so I wish you could remove the cable, but you can't. And the cable isn't particularly long like it is on the old ones. Much longer cable. It's silly that you can't remove the cable, isn't it? If you could remove the cable and attach a longer cable or a shorter cable, how great that'd be absolutely perfect for that. And then, like I said, they are more hi-fi sounding, which is amazing for playing back music, but for actually recording and mixing, I don't think these are going to be ideal for mixing. I mean, Dr. McFarlane's used them for music production. You can track with them and everything else, but I don't know. I don't know. I need to figure that out. I need to figure out if these are more accurate than the other ones. But I mean, look, these are made for streaming, as you can see. It says accurate bass response. So side noise rejection. It does need phantom power because it is a condenser mic. Cardioid condenser. Flexible boom arm. Yeah, and the mic actually sounds good. It sounds good kind of there, which is nice too, because I can still drink my tea. Look. With the other headset, I had the mic really close to my mouth, and it wasn't as easy to move around. Mute the microphone, 2 different ear pads, hardwired cable. I mean, I guess it's less likely to come out, but that never happened with the old ones, and I like the way I could remove them. And there's also a USB headset with a built-in AD converter. Yeah, very. I mean, they're all. I really like the Audio Technica stuff. It's not perfect, but it's changed the way I do these live streams. You know, I'm going to sell that mic. When I started doing live streams in the lockdown, I bought a $1,000 Sennheiser shotgun mic, but it was completely the wrong thing for me to buy, because although it's awesome the way it's above the camera and out of the shot, so you just saw my face, it does look better, I guess, but it picks up everything in the room. And even though this isn't a particularly loud room, those mics are so sensitive. You hear the neighbor's TV, you hear the airplanes, you hear the fan noise, any hiss, it just picks it all up. It picks up everything. That's for a quiet studio where you're shooting a movie. If you're in any kind of room with any kind of noise, then these headsets are amazing. But I do think they should just make this. Imagine if they just made this microphone, and I could wear my in-ear monitors with it. So I could have the in-ear monitors that I use at gigs, so I have the same sound. You wouldn't see the in-ear monitors. I wouldn't have these on my head, and you just have this microphone to pick up my voice with no noise. That'd be amazing. I don't know why they don't do that. They do have the mic by itself, but it's nowhere near as good as this one. So they really should offer that. I told them that too, but I don't suppose that will happen. So that's the model there. It's the ATHM50X STS. There's the USB version, and there's the XLR and jack version, which I have. Danielle says, I have 3 27-inch monitors. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, some people have, 1, 2, 3, or even 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah. I really like, I run out of space too. I've got the 14 laptop display and the 32-inch Apple display, and it's amazing, but I could still use a bit more space actually. So let's see what Apple released today. I'm really excited. 8 o'clock tonight EST. As I finish my gig, Apple will be showing their announcement. I can't wait to watch it, because all this stuff, at the end of the day, we talk about guitars, we talk about all this stuff. What is the most important thing to a musician in 2023, 2024? The computer. The phone, the computer. It's the heart of what we do, right? It's just the way it is. So this computer, I use it to book my gigs. I use it to promote my gigs. I use it to do my live streams. I use it to make videos. I use it to record music. I use it to edit videos, very importantly. I use this so much. And then at my gigs, I use my phone to play music, to read the lyrics. It also records my gigs lately as well. So awesome, it's a big part of what we do, and it really is the heart of what I do. This computer, I couldn't be without it. Even last night, I jumped on to put up my Facebook events, and it was just so fast. I remember the Intel iMac. I used to go on Facebook, and it was so slow to like even load the Facebook. When I used to go live in the lockdown, I'd load up Facebook to say I'm going live, and I'd sit there for a minute while the page loaded up. I mean, Facebook has obviously tweaked and improved their graphics algorithms and things too. They've gotten better, but it was so slow. And then once I got the M1 Mac, it just loaded almost instantly, and it made such a difference. There was none of that stress, like, oh, I need to post the event and I can't, So these little things like that really add up. It's like if you're at a gig and you're using a digital mixer and you can't connect to it because your phone's too old and your app is not updated and stuff like that. It's really important to have that stuff working well. Oh, I can't keep up with you, man. Just sold the SL3 and went back to the RME UFX EQ on every channel. Okay, well that sounds good. I tried the RME baby thing once, but it was just way too complicated for me. I honestly, I find you're a producer. I find a lot of this stuff too complicated. Honestly, I just want to turn something on and use it. But the RME baby face that I had was horribly complicated. What size and brand is your other screen? Well, I got the laptop screen as the MacBook Pro 14, and my main screen is a 32-inch Apple display. Yes, it was a lot of money. And that's why I never really told anyone that I bought it. But I have the Apple display, and I absolutely love it. And my fear today is they're going to bring out a new version. I've had this now for 2 years, so I feel like I've got a lot of value from it, and I absolutely love it. I think it was worth it, honestly. But and I know, honestly, if they do bring out a new version, this is still amazing. It's completely changed everything. So I would still be very happy with this, but if they bring out a new one that is like 1,000,000 times better, it'll be a little bit. I mean, it's annoying, but that's technology, right? That's what happens. Something new comes out. I mean, today there's going to be an M3. I've got the M1. There might be a new display. I've got the older display. Look, this all works amazingly well, and I'm sure this rig right now is working a lot better than 90% of rigs that are out there doing live streams right now. So it's all good. Most important thing, honestly, is to have like a good internet connection. So I have a wired connection. I ran a wire from the router. The good thing about being in an apartment and not a house is that it's very easy to run the wire from the router through the wall into the next room and go straight in with the cable, which is always the best thing to do. One thing I don't really have problems with, knock on wood, is the internet connection dropping out while I'm doing these videos, right? I never really had that happen to me in all these years, which has been great. And that's the most important thing, because if you're live and it's cutting out, that sucks, right? That really sucks. Good to see you, Gary. How is your guitar working out, Gary? Your Emerald. Are you still using that as your main stage guitar? Let us know. But yeah, what happened with me was I was an early adopter. I shot myself in the foot because I got the first M1 Mac that came out, and I got a display that was supposedly supported. They sold it at the Apple Store, and it didn't work. It was horrible. It was awful, and it just didn't work as well as the old iMac, which frustrated me because I loved having the M1. But if there was so many bugs, that was the first version. There was no displays for it. The whole thing was a drag. The only display was this display they sold at the Apple Store, which didn't really work with it very well. I actually emailed Tim Cook and got a phone call back from Apple corporate about this. I was so annoyed and disappointed with all these bugs I was having problems with. But that's what happens when you buy something day one. You're going to have those problems. So then when I went back to the iMac, and then when the M2 came out. Oh, no, sorry. when the M1 MacBook Pro, that's right, I got the M1 MacBook, so that wasn't as good anyway. M1 MacBook and that display and all the bugs. Then the M1 MacBook Pros came out, and that's when I was like, okay, now it's been another year. It's a Pro. It's a 14-inch laptop. I want that one. It's a new design. That's what I want. And then my only choice, still, I wasn't going to buy the Apple display. But there's just nothing. There was nothing else on the market. Now there's the cheaper Apple displays that are smaller, but I couldn't go back to that now anyway. Those smaller screens, I think they're 27. So I guess I could have got 2 or 3 27-inch screens, but I love having the 32, and it's so nice. And it's just been an absolute joy, honestly. How's the... So, okay, I'm sending that back today. I'm sending that back. I stand by what I said before. The OMJM anniversary, especially the one that I have, because all guitars are different. They're all different trees, of course. But it's great. It's the build quality is almost perfect or perfect, and the sound is better than any OMJM I've played before. But I was thinking to myself, am I going to keep that? I cancelled the OM45. I just think that's a horrible use of my money. I mean, I don't even have the money to buy it. But to like have to work a whole year next year to pay for that guitar, I'm not doing it. And I think what I said about the OMJM before is that I'm not against signature models, but I don't want to play a signature model just because it's a signature model. It's obviously the John Mayer guitar. I want the slightly wider nuts. The neck's a bit not quite the shape that I want. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to return that. I'm going to cancel the 45, and my Martin guitar that I end up keeping is going to be an OM42. I wanted an OM42. I saw a really nice one on Sweetwater, and I thought I'll try that. So I got that one in last week. I'll make a video about it. It's just got a really nice, bright, modern tone. It's got that slightly wider nut. It's not an artist model, and it's more within the specs that I want. So I'm going to be keeping the OM42. In fact, I think I'm going to be selling all the other Martins, to be honest with you. Like I said earlier in the stream, I have a list of the 8 guitars that fill the needs that I personally need right now. So I really like the 42. I've done some recordings. It's a little bit... I think those 40 guitars are brighter than the standard series, and some people say it's the way they put the routing around it for all the inlay. Maybe. I have found that myself with several of those, that they are on the brighter sound. But I think that guitar will age and mellow with age, whereas a guitar that sounds a bit deader won't get brighter with age, right? So I think that's a good thing. But no, I really like it. I liked it from the moment I played it. I think it looks great. I think I don't think you can go wrong with that. And I think for me, for what I do and what I want, and for my money, I think I'd rather put a bit more money in and get an OM42 standard than get the like the OMJM. That's just how I feel. But I've seen a lot of people say they've got the OMJM and really like them, and I completely understand why. It really impressed me, and I think they did a great job with it. And I think it looks great in person too. I really do. I really do. It's just for me, if I don't mind playing a signature guitar if it's all the specs that I would get, and it's easier to get that than to do a custom order myself. But I don't really want to play a custom guitar and then some of the specs aren't even what I would play just to say that I'm playing that person's guitar. Does that make sense? So, but it is a great guitar. Very impressed with it. So, actually, yeah, I got to send that back today or tomorrow. The other day, my iPad was dead. It had no monitor for the first few songs. But that's why it's good to have a speaker that you can still make adjustments on the speaker. Because you could still go to the eVerse 8 and use the screen on it to at least turn it on, right? At least get it going. And that's the thing with the mixers I was talking about earlier. They make a mixer, a version of the mixer, which is just the rack, just the inputs and outputs, no screen. Much cheaper, easier to carry around, more robust, but you must have your iPad or your computer around to use it. The reason I like the other ones that I showed or talked about is because it's got the screen as well, which is only about the same size as my phone, but it's always there. So if your phone dies, if you've gone to the bathroom and someone needs to change something, they can just use the screen and change it. Right? It's done. The Aaron Short Show. Yes. Is that what this is? What do you think about Taylor guitars? I'll do a video on that at some point. I have mixed thoughts. And you know what I really hate? Okay, here we go. Great. Good time. What I really hate is when people talk about a brand, and I'm not aiming this at you, by the way, Nick, but you've just made me remember something that I've been thinking about a lot this week. You say, what do you think about Taylor guitars? Well, I do have a general opinion of Taylor guitars, but like I said earlier, all guitars are different, and you can't just say, I love Taylor guitars or I hate Taylor guitars, because they make different woods, they use different woods, they have different bracing on some, they have different body sizes, right? They have all these different things. I mean, the pickups are all the same, I suppose, but the reason I'm on this rant right now is because I'm thinking this week a lot about Maton guitars. I was just reading in a forum a few days ago, and I got to stop reading forums. I want to get off forums and Facebook completely and just do my channel. Not because I'm that, not because I believe that my way is the right way, but just because I just want to talk about stuff that I have experience with. And someone said Maton guitars don't sound good unplugged. What kind of a general statement is that? So every guitar they've ever made from any year, any model, they all sound like crap. Is that what they're saying? That's such a stupid thing to say. And it's not true, because I went back to where I compared a Martin, a Rainsong, and a Maton, and most people preferred the Maton. And I've been playing my Maton this week. I actually haven't played it since I got it 2 years ago, because that kind of got in my head as well, that it didn't sound very good. And I put some fresh strings on it, and I think it sounds awesome. I absolutely love it. And to read those comments that when people say that, it's just not fair. And that's why I wouldn't now sit here now and say, oh, I don't like Taylor guitar. No, why would I say that? When I went to Rudy's with Lee and Rosanna a few months ago, we played a bunch of Taylors. Some of them were really nice. Some of them I didn't like at all, and some of them were okay. But I've had that experience with a lot of Martin guitars recently too. I've had a couple of Martins that I thought were made horribly and didn't sound good. I've had some that sound great, some that sound bright, some that sound dull, some that sound woody, some that sound... They're so different. It's you know, a guitar is a guitar. So you can generalize the sound of a brand, but you can't say you can't say all Matons sound terrible, all Martins sound good, all Gibsons sound good, and all Taylor. So I don't, maybe that's not what you're asking me, but that just triggered me because I read that comment during the week and it really annoyed me, and I want to make a video about that. But to answer your question, I've played some really good ones, and most of those are the more affordable ones, and I'll make a video about that at some point. But definitely try to play these guitars and find what works for you. I mean, the OM42 and the OM42 I have now sounds so different to the OM28 that I sold a few months ago. And it obviously sounds so different to a Dreadnought, right? And it sounds so different to a Authentic. So different. It's like it's a completely different guitar. It even feels completely different, right? The standard neck is so different to the Authentic neck. So I don't like how some people just say, "Oh, Martin." They imply that all Martins are amazing, and these things from these amazing mystical things. They're all just wood, right? I do like the X bracing. I do like the scallop bracing. There we go. And companies that don't use that, like Taylor, use a lot of V bracing. I personally haven't found that as pleasing as the X bracing. But then they're more affordable guitars from Taylor. They use X bracing or no bracing, and I like that. I like that a lot. And coincidentally, Maton use X bracing too. So they're not that different to Martins, right? Right there with you. I've not thought about ordering it again. I emailed you about the custom shop. Yes, I am selling the custom shop. I'll get back to you. But just so you know, I'm not in a rush, and I'm probably gonna want more than you're gonna be happy about. That's going to be the last. That guitar will be the last one that I sell. I've had so many people ask to buy that guitar from me. That'll be the last one that I let go, for sure. So don't be offended if I say something you don't like. Also a Collings OM2H with the narrow nuts. Yeah, so you could do that. You could do that. Collings, you know, I've played some nice Collings. Some people say that the Martins have more rough and ready mojo in the same way that Fender have that over Sir. I don't know if I really get that. I don't think there's anything wrong with a guitar that's made really well. Some people say Sir guitars have no soul. Again, are you ready for this? How can you say that every guitar that Sir makes has no soul? Now, I have played some guitars where I get that, but usually it's because they're made so well. Now I have other issues with Sir guitars. The blue one I have has some annoyances on it. I don't understand the reasoning behind it, but they're a custom shop, and that's because that was made with those specs. If you order your own custom from Sir and choose exactly what you want, it'll probably be one of the best guitars you've ever played. So, same thing. PRS guitars have no soul. Sir guitars have no soul. All Martins are great. Maitons sound crap unplugged. You got to plug them in. You know, just these stereotypes drive me crazy, especially when I've done the videos. I love the fact that I did the video, again, comparing a Martin and a Rain Song and a Maton and the Maton. Okay, only a few people voted, to be fair. It's not like it was 1 million people and we got 100,000 votes. But we might have got 5 votes for the Maton and 3 for the Martin. But even so, I think it was actually 5 for the Maton and 1 or 2 for the Martin. So there we go. You know, that's I think that says a lot about this headstock business. Funny enough, the comparison between the OMJM and 42 is kind of like Silver Sky versus Strat. I've had 3 now that just don't work for me. The Silver Sky doesn't work for me either, but that's just the way the neck feels, I think. I actually prefer the SE Silver Sky because of the neck. So check those out. And I don't understand that at all. Like, why do I... You think it'd be the other way around, right? I don't understand why the neck on the SE isn't a bit fatter. And on the American one, it's like really nice sculpted and a bit thinner. Not too thin. Everyone's going too thin now, by the way, with these necks. But I don't understand why... I can't get my brain around it, why I prefer the SE version, which is so much cheaper because of the neck, which is so much more comfortable to me. But there we go. Neck shape is very much down to the person, what they prefer. We like what we like, my friend, and we have to remember that. And don't get swayed by what other people say. That's like, when I come down to my list of the 8 guitars that I'm keeping, it's like, I've put a lot of thought into what do I want? What do I need? What? And it took me a long time to figure that out, you know. I play with a lot of people that play Taylors. I like the plugged-in tone better than my OMJM plugged-in. Some reason I like the Martin feel more. Yeah, but I'd say again that the OMJM neck feels way different to many other necks that Martin make. I mean, the Modern Deluxe neck is so different to the OMJM neck. The standard neck is slightly different. The authentic neck is completely different, right? You like that. You like the feel of that guitar. And even then, there's tolerances. Some necks and 2 of the same model, because they're finished, if they're finished by hand, and they usually are, you can get a real difference in necks. You know, I've played 2 Strats from the same series, and one is like a wafer, and the other one feels perfect to me. It's mind-blowing how inconsistent these things are. I kind of wish guitars were made by machines sometimes. At least they'd all be the same. With my Rain Song, they're all the same, basically, right? Pretty much. They're the same, much more so than like a Martin. And the reason you're saying that is because your OMJM has the Gold Plus, which is a very good pickup, but it is a basic undersaddle. The Taylor system is, you know, more realistic than an undersaddle pickup. But you could always change the pickup in your guitar to something else. You could put an Anthem in there or something. So you should consider that. Gary Roberts, the headset sounds great, and the on-off mute feature, flipping up the mic, is worthwhile. It's absolutely amazing. Like I said, when you're playing electric guitar, there's nothing worse than hearing the electric guitar strings come through. And sometimes I forget to mute it. So often I'll load up a compressor and put the gain on 0, And when I play electric on a video, I'll hit mute. I got to go across and press mute on the screen. That's such a pain in the backside. So with this, every time I'm gonna play, I just do that. I think it'll just become a habit, you know. I'm gonna play guitar. I have to blink every time I do it because I think I'm gonna hit myself in the face. But yeah, I think that'll just become a little habit, just doing that and playing, doing that. I think it'll be really cool. And yeah, even coughing, like, and see, it's awesome. Love the Emerald X30 Jumbo. Great. Yeah, so that's why AES was good for me, because I actually got to see. That's why these trade shows shouldn't die, because I had no idea. I'd seen all the videos on the new mixers from Allen and Heath. I hadn't actually seen one in front of me and had a demo from someone that works for the company. I got to go to Audio Technica and say to them, I love this product of yours, but have you got something even better? And actually, the funny thing is, this wasn't there. But the guy was able to tell me, you should check out that one over there and this one that's not here today. And that's why the trade shows are still valuable to me. But obviously, they're expensive to do. Love the Emerald X30 Jumbo. Awesome. So is that now your main gigging guitar? That's true. Feel is a huge part of it. I end up going back to my custom shop Strat that feels great and saves money. Next thing on the choking block for me is whether I'll keep my 2-rock. Oh, wow. Nice. I like the 2 rocks. But I really like a line out these days, and my Mesa amp has a line out with IRs on it. I think all amps should have that built in myself. Charlie, how you doing? I prefer the K&K Mini. I have 5 guitars. I love the design of that pickup. It's the most lightweight, lightest, it's the most lightweight and lightest pickup. The cable can be suspended in the body of the guitar, so it will not knock against the side of the guitar or anything. I just don't like how I have to plug it into a certain pedal or preamp and dial it in, and then I get feedback, and I don't find it natural enough with my in-ears. If I really had to have a pickup in a guitar and I was going to process it or wasn't going to play it on stage that much, I would do a K&K, because I've had some great results with K&K. There's a video from the lockdown where I did a live stream with a HD28 K&K with the Tone Dexter. I think it was Tone Dexter. Sounded absolutely amazing, like really natural. But when I run around these different venues and jumping around, I just love to grab a guitar that I know will hold up. And for me, that's still the Cole Clark. And this week I've been trying the Maton again. I'm really enjoying that. Quite a different system, but still, again, very powerful, dynamic, and can feedback because there's a mic in the sound hole. But you just stick the sound hole plug in there or turn the mic down, and it's nowhere. It's just so much more stable than the K&K. But the K&K has its place for sure. I'm still not sure which third-party pickup I'd recommend. I mean, it's still the Anthem SL for me, but I still just don't like putting it in the guitar. So I still don't really have a recommendation. I mean, it is the Anthem SL, but with the caveat of you're modifying the guitar. So I understand the whole thing with the OMJM because it's got the gold plus in there. I run mine through a Fishman Platinum. Yeah, it's a bit like the amp I was talking about at the start of this show, where some people online are saying there's hisses and some people are saying there's doesn't hiss at all. I find the same thing with the K&K. Some people say they never get feedback, it sounds natural and they love it. And some people say they can't use it, they get feedback and they don't like how it sounds. That's where I am. I wish I was like you, Charlie. I've tried it in 5 or 6 different guitars, and I always come to the same conclusion. In fact, I've had some gigs absolutely ruined by a K&K. Absolutely destroyed some of my gigs. Like it's howling. And I'm not new to sound. I know how to use a phase switch. I know how to use a feedback buster. I know about where to stand in a gig. I know how to notch out feedback frequencies. And I've had shows where it's just howling, and I have to just turn everything down, and I can't. I've just ruined my gig, absolutely ruined it. And yet I go to a gig with the Cole Clark, the Maiden, those kind of guitars, and that just never happens. I can just focus on just tweaking it to get it sounding as good as I possibly can. And they sound really good in the in-ear monitors as well, and recorded directly. And I just don't have any issues. Now, okay, the problem is you can't use them in your guitars, but where I'm at right now is I'm not going to put anything in my Martin. I'm going to leave my Martin completely stock. I'm not going to do anything to it. And I'm going to use the Maiden and the Cole Clark guitars for my gigs. That's the plan. So we'll see. Yeah. But like I said, for those that haven't had those issues and like how it sounds, yes, then I would say that is the way to go, 100%. So I would say to Nick, if you can borrow someone's guitar with a K&K and use it at the places that you play at, and it doesn't feed back and you like how it sounds, then by all means, take the pickup out of your OMJM and put that in instead. And I really think it's a great design, and it is the best on paper pickup for an acoustic guitar. But if you find the way you play and where you play is giving you all this uncontrollable feedback and giving you like nightmares, then obviously that's not the way to go. And then I would say look into the Anthem SL, or wait and see what comes out next year from LR Baggs, because I think they're going to make a version of the hi-fi pickup with a microphone eventually. I suspect the K&K works better in OM style. No, I haven't found that at all. I haven't found that at all. You would think so, wouldn't you? You would think that an OM has less boom than a Dreadnought, but that's absolutely not my experience at all. When I tried the hi-fi pickup, I had it in the OM, right? LR Baggs put it in my OM that I've since sold. And even they said to me, we can't believe how much low mid-range this OM has. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't sound like an OM, does it? It sounds like almost like a Dreadnought. It's got all this like boom and bass to it, which is great unplugged. I really was enjoying that guitar. And they said, yeah, but it might cause you problems with the contact pickup, like a K&K or the hi-fi. And it did. I got feedback from the hi-fi, and the same amount I would have had probably from a K&K and a Dreadnought. And I had the K&K in that guitar before the hi-fi actually, and I had even more feedback from the K&K, and about the same as I'd have from a Dreadnought. So there we go. It brings me back to, I keep saying this a lot lately. I just want to really hammer this home. The guitars are very different. They can be similar. Like an OM has similar traits, maybe to a Dreadnought. Different to a Dreadnought. And, certain brands do have a sound, and guitars have a sound, and wood has a certain sound. But you're always going to get those two guitars that are the same model, and they sound completely different. I've had that here this year with several different guitars. The two OMs I showed, they sounded completely different, and everyone agreed with me. Two M36s I showed a few months ago sounded completely different. And my OM42 sounds way different to the other OMs that I've had. Is it better or worse? Well, that's mostly subjective. But in regards to the feedback thing, no. If you've got an OM with a particularly boomy resonant frequency on it, that can feedback as much as anything else. And even a thin body guitar with the K&K, I think, can feedback a lot more. The thing about the K&K is that there's no built-in preamp. It's on you to get the preamp and dial in and dial out those, to dial in the sound and dial out those feedback frequencies. So you've got to really know what you're doing, and it also depends where you play and how loud you play and all that other stuff. But I will say this, the K&K Trinity that I reviewed, the K&K with the Trinity microphone, is the most natural sounding pickup in the world. But that's because it's got a full range microphone stuck in the sound hole. And to combine the K&K with that microphone, I could never use that at any of my shows. It would be a complete disaster. But for recording, for live streaming, that's amazing. But that's because you've got a full range mic in the sound hole of the guitar. Maiden do that too, but they cut off all the low end of the mic. So you could do that on the K&K as well. But you've got to do it yourself. It's not built in. All right, I'm going to wrap up because I need to eat and leave pretty soon. So thanks for watching the earlier show. Really appreciate it. Check out this headset if you like it. Thanks for the comments. Let me know in the comments if I should keep this one. I think it's good. The listing stuff for sale. If you're interested in anything, I mean, even the old headset, anything like that, send me a message. I'll be selling a lot of stuff soon. AaronShortMusic@gmail.com. And yeah, I hope today was interesting. Thanks for joining me earlier. Great as always. Next week, I think I'm back to the regular time. I'm just going to check before I leave. Next week's regular time. Week after that is early again. Week after that is regular time and regular time. Okay, so good. So next week, back to 4 p.m. EST. So have a great week. Happy Halloween. I was going to do a Halloween thing, but I decided not to do it. I might tell you about that next week. So yeah, take care. Have a great Halloween if you're so inclined. Enjoy your week, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Please subscribe and ring the bell. Oh, I forgot to say that. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell, because I'm so close to 16,000. I'm 6 away. So hopefully I'll be hitting that in the next couple of days. And thanks for everyone's support and help me to get to that point. I really appreciate it. I'll just answer this before I go, but this is the last question. Thanks. Have you had a Martin plastic binding shrink and pull away from the waist, sagging sadly? You mean the binding issue on Martins? I've never had that issue, and I'll be the first. I'm pretty hard on Martin lately. I talk about my experiences, right? I feel, what I should say is I feel like I've been hard on Martin lately because I've seen some things with the construction that I personally don't like, and I've been very verbal about it. I also try to be very verbal about when I do see good examples as well, because I want to be fair, right? But I have never, again, knock on wood, I've never, of all the Martins I've owned since 2015 when I got into the brand, and I've owned and bought and sold and traded and well, not really traded, but I've had in my hands many Martins. I have never seen a Martin with the binding issue. Now, I'm not saying it's not real. I believe it is real, totally. But I believe it was on like maybe a year they had used the wrong thing or something. And I also think that can happen if you don't humidify a guitar. And a lot of people don't humidify. I'm not humidifying yet. I need to be. That's very important. So if you're not humidifying the guitars right, if you're not looking after them, if you've got one from a certain time they had a problem, if Martin happened to make a mistake, I do believe that's an issue. But all I can say is I talk from my experience, and I've never owned or even seen a Martin with the binding coming off. So there we go. Just be wary. If you're buying a used one from around 10 years ago, just be wary and just double check. But you know what? Even if it does come off, you just glue it back on. It's not a big deal. That's a very small job to have that binding reattached correctly to the guitar, from what I'm told. It's not like the guitar's falling apart. It's literally just the cosmetic binding around the edges has come loose at a certain point, and you just have that point glued back down again. I've seen a lot worse issues than that on guitars. Cheers, Charlie. You say I always learn. I learn from you. Like, I love the fact you tell me you're using a K&K and it works for you. And I think that's awesome. It doesn't work for me. So I love the back and forth here. I talk about how I use the stuff at my gigs, and you tell me what works for you, and then hopefully as we talk about that through the channel, it helps others that are watching. And sometimes the answer for them is just to try it themselves, but at least they know, well, it works for Aaron, and that works for Charlie, and Aaron plays there and Charlie plays there and I play here, so maybe I can make a decision based on that. It's all good info. And then very occasionally we all agree on the same thing, right? But like no one should play a 7-string guitar, for example. No, I'm kidding. No one should play a bass guitar. No, I'm kidding. All right, so have a great week. See you soon. Bye-bye. I'm not